Hey guys, welcome. We're going to sit back today and I'm just going to share with you how to microdose from start to finish, especially if you're a beginner. I've been doing these videos for quite some time now. And by the way, my name is Dr. Dave if you're brand new to me. And I've been getting a lot of questions lately, maybe from some new viewers or some people that kind of want like recaps, like how do I get started? How do I do it? What's the regimen? How much do I take? Magic mushrooms, etc. So today we're going to get into that. And before we do, I just want to share with you, if you have not played this album, yeah, I love vinyl, by the way. If you're not playing this, Moody Blues in Search of the Lost Chord, I highly recommend it. Okay, let's get right back into our subject here. So, first of all, I do not talk about sourcing. If you don't know where to get your magic mushrooms, I recommend you just do some research, talk to some younger people. It's not difficult at all. Generally, I recommend getting them in capsule form for microdosing. It's just easiest. They're whoever makes them for you, you can do it yourself, pre-measures them, weighs everything out, and you know exactly what you're getting into, as opposed to just eating dry mushrooms themselves. And by the way, every time I speak about the amount or weight or grams or milligrams, I'm talking about dried, generally ground up mushrooms. That's generally what we use for microdosing in capsule form. Now, what type of, there are many different strains out there. So what type, again, I'm going to be talking about in general, the typical Psilocybin cubensis. It's just, kind of run of the mill, middle of the road mushroom. It's not too weak, not too strong. There's so many strains out there, we can't really even get involved. And I've done a bunch of videos on different strains. But again, let's just take you with the run of the mill, if there is such a thing, magic mushrooms. Why do you want to microdose? Well, some of the most common reasons to microdose are anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, just not feeling great about your life. You just want to improve your life in many different ways. Addictions such as different drugs, alcohol, nicotine, even addictions like porn, sex, things like that. I really do believe that magic mushrooms can help in that realm. Again, microdosing, in case you're not familiar with this, microdosing is taking a sub-perceptual dose, sub-perceptual amount of psilocybin magic mushrooms. So you should not be able to feel any like true psychedelic effects. Like you're not going to be seeing triangles, squares, patterns, colors. You're not, with a microdose, you can go about your day totally normally, and you're not going to feel high. You shouldn't feel high. So let's get into the dosing to make sure you're doing it right and make sure you're not taking too much or too little. I recommend starting off with about 100 milligrams of a microdose. 100 milligrams, now you need to know the metric system a little bit too, because I could interchange 100 milligrams is the same thing as 0.1 gram. So just move the decimal place over 3 places. From 100 milligrams, you go 100, and you get your 0.1 gram. It's the same thing. Metric is very, very easy in case you don't know it at all. 100 milligrams is a great starting point. Now, for some, it might be too strong. Not most people, it's not, but for some, it might feel too strong. So what I recommend on day one, and I recommend also doing it in the morning. I think the morning is the best time to microdose before you've eaten anything or as you're eating, but not on a full stomach. It's best to do it, in my opinion, it's best to do it on an empty stomach. On day one, take 100 milligrams. 0.1 grams. Go about your business, see how you feel. I definitely recommend journaling. In other words, writing down in a journal. I keep this with me all the time. Write down in a journal what you want to accomplish. How do you want to feel? Do you want to be more mindful? Do you want to meditate better? What do you want? Where do you want your life to go? What direction do you want your life to go? How do you want to feel every single day? Write it all down and study it and read it all the time and edit as necessary. Okay, now once you've taken your 100 milligrams, about an hour or two later, if you feel high, if you feel like you're tripping, which I don't think you will, then the next day you need to back off and go down to 50 milligrams. If you don't feel any effects, The next day, do 100 milligrams again, and the following day, do 100 milligrams again in the morning. You should start to feel, how can I explain it? Better, less anxious, less depressed, a little bit happier with your life. By the way, another thing I wanted to throw in there is, in addition to all the anxiety and depression and PTSD, there's a war going on now. There's real tough uncertainty in Europe and around the world. It's stressing a lot of people out. It's very difficult. So this is another good reason microdosing could help in that regard as well. And also, don't watch the news so much. Turn off the news. If anything really bad happens, you'll find out about it. So turn off the news. Okay, so 3 days in a row, you want to do your 100 milligrams. Now, it's very important to take 2 days off after that. So the pattern would be 3 days on, 2 days off. There's nothing that's written in stone, and it's different for everybody, but this is a good starting pattern. The reason you need to take 2 days off after 3 days on is because if you don't, you build up a tolerance and it won't work, or won't work nearly as well. So 3 days on, 2 days off. If you've gone through 3 days at 100 milligrams and you've taken 2 days off, it's time to start again. Now, should your dosage be the same? Maybe. If you feel like, yeah, I'm feeling just like a little bit better about things. Things are feeling good. I feel more confident. I feel more alert. I feel like I want to get things done. Then that's great. Then keep it up with the same dose. If you don't feel any change whatsoever, like just you're still anxious, you're still depressed, you still have some PTSD, addictive tendencies, whatever it might be, then I'd like you to up it to 150 milligrams, which will be what? How many grams? 0.15. 0.15 grams is the same as 150 milligrams. I want you to up it to that and do that for 3 days in a row. If for some reason you feel weird or bad feelings or high or anything like that, then you want to back off again a little bit. But so my point is, you want to get to a point where you're upping your dosage a little bit at a time. And when you get to a point where it's either uncomfortable, you feel high, you feel some psychedelic effects, then back off just a little bit, and that's probably your ideal dose. So let's say you started at 100 milligrams. Let's say you didn't feel much and you want to up it to 150. Then maybe then you take 3 days on, 2 days off. Then you up it to 200 milligrams. At 200 milligrams, let's just say you feel not good. You feel high, or you feel like you can't get things, you can't function. Then you back off to 150 milligrams, and that's probably your sweet spot. That's probably your ideal microdose. Keeping in mind that anything can change at any time. It's not an exact science. Everybody's different. Some people microdose 50 milligrams. 50 milligrams. Some people microdose, I microdose in the neighborhood of 250 milligrams to some 300 milligrams. That seems to be like an ideal microdose for me. But again, there's some days that I just want to do 100 milligrams. I've been doing this for about a year now, and I have a really good feel of how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to react. So I know really, really well how many milligrams or what kind of dosage I need to take in any given day. Remember, I recommend the pattern 3 days on, 2 days off. Keep doing that. If you don't feel any different, then you got to up your dose. That's all you got to do, up your dose. Now, I'm also not talking about macrodosing in this video at all. Macrodosing is totally different. It's higher doses. It's a different subject, and I'll probably do a totally different video on that at some time. But I wanted to come back on and kind of give a primer, a synopsis, just a beginner's guide to how to start microdosing, start to finish. So I talked about where to get, of course, I don't discuss that, but we went over that. We talked about what type of strain, again, typical Psilocybin cubensis strain. Golden Teachers is a little bit on the weaker side, but something like that, or maybe something a little bit stronger. You just have to experiment with different strains. Have a trusted source that can help you with strains and tell you which strains are best for microdosing. Start at 100 milligrams, 3 days on, 2 days off. Either back off if it feels too strong, or increase if it doesn't feel strong enough. And you'll reach your sweet spot, and you'll find that microdosing is perhaps one of the best things you've ever started and tried in your life, because it really, really is a total life changer. I hope this helps you. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try my best to get to every single one that I can. Lately, I've got so many different things going on. It's been a little bit tough to answer everybody, but I do read everything. I love you, and I really, really appreciate your support. And if there's anybody, a loved one or anybody that you think needs help or wants to find out more about microdosing, please turn them onto my channel here. This is not to be taken as medical advice, even though I am Dr. Dave. I am a retired dentist. I'm not a physician. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor of mathematics. I'm Dr. Dave, a retired dentist who definitely has a lot of training in the healthcare and health profession and things like that. But this is not to be taken as medical advice, because I'm just a regular guy like you may be, guy or gal, who's on YouTube trying to help other people, something that's worked for me, trying to help other people. That's all I'm doing here. Till next time, I want to say peace and love.